yeah, we'll let you know if we come. The time I got fucking robbed, when I was delivering a pizza, the guy calls with a fake number, obviously, to order the pizza, and the idiot that fucking took the order is like, doesn't know better, than to than to call back. That was the protocol in that town. Was like they would call, you would say, okay, we'll call you right back. Make sure it's a real number, for delivery. So I go out, guy robs me at gunpoint. I get back to the thing. We call the police. 3 days later, me and my friend had figured out who the fuck it was, had his address, everything about him.
Really?
I call the police department and they go, yeah, we're still trying to run down that number he used. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? You think I'm an idiot? What does that mean? What does run down that number mean?
Yeah.
What are you doing exactly?
Well,
and also, it's obviously a fake fucking number. What are you talking? I mean, you're goddamn idiots. So I put all the goddamn evidence into a manila envelope, right? Had it all laid out. I had maps in there and charts and shit, and all the explanation of how we figured out who the guy was, because it was a former employee of the place, right? And I just started to kind of get a hunch about that. And then I went and did an impression of the guy to the owner, the guy that robbed me. He was wearing a mask and shit. But I knew he sounded kind of distinctive. So I did an impression, and they're like, that sounds like Nick. And so we go look at his application, and it was like one number off of the fake address where he robbed me. And I'm like, okay, well, this
right
is our
next
guy.
door. Yeah.
Yeah. So
asshole.
anyways, that's how I figured it out. So I bring that all to the police department. I'm like, here, you guys, because my entire family is now like weeping and like going like, please don't, because me and my friend Trix are just going to go fucking stab him or whatever,
Yeah.
And everybody's, no, just let the police, oh God, you're
Like, they're not going to do anything.
Yeah. And I'm like, fine, you know what? And this is what so I get down there, and the guy just kind of reads it over, and his fucking stupid little boy ego couldn't even allow him to go like,
good job.
Wow, this makes a lot of sense. Yeah, wow, that's crazy you figured this out, because we're not capable of this kind of fucking detective work at all. Otherwise, you'd be in prison too.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
No, so then they give me attitude all fucking day. I'm like, well, why don't you go fucking pick him up then before I fucking kill him? I mean, this guy pointed a gun at me.
Yeah, dude, fuck that. There's retaliation coming in that.
Right.
Like that especially when you're in your fucking 20s, dude. That's not, that
right.
doesn't.
No, and in the end, I'm glad that they talked me out of it in a way. But,
well, yeah.
I don't know, whatever. I mean, but the point is, these fucking idiots would have never done shit, dude.
I remember a similar thing where I was living downtown Chicago, and it was I had moved in with this girl that I knew, just platonic, and we were living in this place outside. It's like Logan Square, Humboldt Park-ish. It was a little neighborhood called Avondale. It was kind of a shitty neighborhood at the time. Now it's all hipsters and shit, but there was this dude Bruce that she knew, and a bunch of people that I knew through the group that I knew her from all knew this guy. They were all kind of like real sort of Antifa-y punk rock, like the real aggressive.
It was like before Antifa. It was
gay
just
dudes,
like
but they were still that. They would like go with her, like, because they had a couple. They were like all kind of gay, but also not. They all like were with girls and shit, but they would just like, I don't know if they just like would act gay and get people to say something at a party and then like fight everyone. They were an aggressive group, but
I knew.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, this was a thing at one point. Yeah, this was a thing at one point.
It definitely was, because they would wear like, because the guy I'm thinking of was always fucking people up because he just loved to fight, but he'd walk around with like nail polish and mascara on and stuff.
Exactly. They would wear makeup and stuff like that.
Just to bait the thing.
That was exactly what it was. So anyways. So I was living there.
The same people.
The girl moves out. They get into a fight. And so he owned this house. It was a 2-flat. I had an apartment on the top. It was a fucking cool ass place too. And then he was on the bottom, and then there was like a basement unit. But anyways, they get into something. She moves out. So now it's just my apartment. And then eventually he goes, like within a month, he's like, "Hey, my ex-girlfriend Claire wants to move in here. Would that be cool?" I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "No, dude, I don't want to live with anyone, and especially someone I don't know." So lo and behold, he moves her in, and I'm like, "Well, what the fuck is this?" So now I'm pissed. And so I'm like, yeah, now I have to live with this chick, and now it's, a couple months go by, and she's a fucking trash bag, and whatever, just gross as shit. She was hot, but she was filthy.
if you wanted to play things legally, I'm sure that's like an insane crime to commit.
Yeah,
Just
I
to,
wasn't
like, rent somebody
renting a
place
room
and then just put someone else in there with them.
Yeah.
Like, no, you have no choice.
Yeah, exactly. So eventually I was like, all right, this is stupid. I'm going to start fucking looking for a new place. And it just kind of degraded to where I was like, I'm not paying rent anymore. Fuck you. And it was, I found a place within like a month or something. But I started not staying there much either. Well, meanwhile, he takes my shit and locks it in the attic. So he thought I couldn't get to it, but obviously he doesn't know me. But either way, so eventually I end up, I know when he's there, when he's not there, whatever. So I go there, I fucking climb a tree, get on this fucking roof, go in this window. I'm like fucking, do all
Dude,
this
when
shit.
when you really want something,
I was
it's
motivated.
amazing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
Amazing what you can do. Yeah.
I needed to. So I got in there. I got my shit. But then all of a sudden, I get this bill in the mail. Like my mail's being forwarded to where I moved. And it was a quick move out because I had to do it all while this dude was gone. So whatever. So it turns out that dude went through my shit, got my social security number and information, and put all the bills of the house in my name. And so now I start getting $1,000 bills that he just wasn't paying. Nobody was paying it. So I'm like, well, what the fuck? I'm not paying this. So now I start getting a hold of the Chicago PD. Dude, these guys didn't. It was like I was telling them my name was fucking, Bill. They just did not give it. They were so disinterested. And I'm trying to tell them, like, no, this is a case of fucking stolen, like identity theft. Because this was at that time when that was like a new thing and everyone was fucking paranoid. This is like before people were comfortable like buying shit on the internet. Remember this? Because there was identity theft and all this. It was like rampant. So I'm going that angle. I'm like, dude, this is identity theft. This dude fucking, blah, blah, blah. And eventually, so I'm going back and forth with a couple detectives.
Like, yeah, you literally have PSAs about this. What the fuck,
like
dude?
you're saying, So eventually, I'm going back and forth with a couple detectives. They're not returning my call. Eventually, finally, and they're doing the same thing as your buddy. They're just like sending me to this department. Oh no, you have to call here. Oh no, they sent you to the wrong place. Blah blah blah.
Dude, it's a fucking nightmare. And then, meanwhile, you get a bunch of sanctimonious fucking drivel when they're arresting you for weed about the fucking.
That's
law
what I was gonna say.
and how
This
important
guy
it is.
This guy eventually just tells me, like, look, man, you know what? I'm just going to level with you. There's not going to be a lot done. Like, unless you can get him to confess that he did this, there's not a lot we can do.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm I'm like, well, then why is it if you guys are refusing to even fucking look at this, which is an actual case and probably a federal case, I'm like, why is it that when I cause a fucking stink at a bar, there's 6 cops that are there immediately fucking holding me on the ground and shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, what does this doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, that does seem to be the pattern with any time that I've ever had to fucking like been forced to deal with cops to resolve anything. Nothing gets resolved. I can't even imagine being like, having somebody that or like someone in your family murdered or something, what that's like, just knowing that these people are just like, yeah, we'll get to it. You know what I mean? Like, It can't be, I don't know, man.
Meanwhile, like, remember when that cop got shot up in Lake Forest or whatever? Or where was it? Up in, like, Lake County, like, northern Illinois.
Yeah.
Remember there was a cop that they called G.I. Joe, and all the kids loved him, and he got shot and killed. Do you remember the fucking law enforcement response? It was...
outstanding. It was unbelievable.
It was like 100 different departments responded. There are thousands of vehicles combing the streets.
Yeah.
There's fucking helicopters. There's infrared.
I know, dude. I barely got out of there.
Like what, dude. And then it turned out that the guy shot himself.
Yeah.
You remember this?
Yes.
Joe Glinowitz was his name. It was like my favorite story that ever happened in the history of the world because I was watching for days because at the time it was in some of like my darkest hatred of police.
Yes.
And so when I just saw like a 24-hour news coverage of a cop that got shot, I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I hope these guys get away and shit. And I'm just watching it all day and night. And then it turns out that he shot himself in some kind of attempt at a pension scam.
Yeah, that was a pretty embarrassing.
And then they start looking into him, and he's got cocaine in his desk.
Yeah, he was dirty as shit.
And he was embezzling money.
Yeah.
From a youth organization.
Yeah, that guy was a
yeah,
piece of
and
shit.
All kinds of shit, dude. G.I. Joe,
which is really weird.
Hero to all the kids. Yeah. But like that's what I mean. Like, dude, before they knew that this guy had shot himself, and they thought there was 2 fugitives because he had made a fake call. These 2 guys, and then he shot himself. Officer down, and then
And then bled out.
yeah, he shot himself in the chest. But
brilliant.
then you see that response versus when like just a normal person gets murdered and they like show up with a clipboard like, yeah, here, fill this out, like we'll get back to you.
Yeah, yeah, okay, so here's another story that just I was reminded. My buddy Clay up in Madison, when I was living up in Madison, somebody robbed his house, right? They got his laptop, they got his like laptop bag, they got his cell phone. This was back when people were still stealing cell phones. I mean, it happens now, but it's fucking pretty rare because it's like nobody gives a shit. And you could get a fucking free cell phone, you know what I mean? But this was back, probably 10 years ago. No, more, probably 15 years ago. But anyways, somehow, I don't remember how it happened, but somehow I think the guy got a hold of him and was like asking like for money to get his shit back. There's some black dude that had stole it, and he was like, look, I'll give you your shit back. Give me this much money. And obviously, he just called the police. So he asked me to go with him. So there was like this little sting operation that
That's
we're
a weird
involved
plan.
in.
Just go to a pawn shop in Indiana or something. Like,
Yeah.
why you don't try
I
to
know.
sell it to the same guy you stole it from?
It made no sense. And the guy got busted. So we had to go wait where this guy was saying, and then Clayton wanted me to go with just to like make sure if something went down, he at least had somebody there before where the cops weren't. So they had plainclothes cops though, like hiding out like in the crowd down on State Street in Madison. And we just went, and they like fucking went, tackled him, got his shit. And he got his shit.
Really?
Yeah, it was insane. I totally forgot about that until now.
You were there?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I fucking tackled the dude too. How about that?
Yeah. Got your licks in.
Yeah.
But you were actually licking him.
Yeah. Like, dude, please, we're trying to do our job here, sir. There's no need to lick his neck.
Why do they all do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked up, dude. I don't know. I could go on and on about
Just
times
as I saw
like,
that on Cheaters.
Yeah, I could go on and on about times they were just fucking worthless and terrible at their
Always.
jobs.
Yeah.
Which a lot of times has been advantages. Like I remember one time leaving the casino with 2 of my friends. We're all like pissed off, everybody probably lost money.
Obviously.
And we're going like, all right, let's just get really fucking high on the way home. So it's one of those things of where like everyone in the car has a big pile of weed and some,
Yeah.
one guy's got a pipe, one guy's rolling a blunt, one guy's doing whatever. And just like this like big ass scene of weed, none of us making any attempt to cover it. And like 2 sheriff's deputies, for some reason there was a cop in the passenger seat too. They pull up and just pace us like right next to us, stare directly at us, look around the car. We all just froze with all this weed all over the place. And then they just kind of give us this look of like, all right, everything seems to be in order here, and they just pull away. And my buddy goes, dude, God, they are so terrible at their job.
Dude, that's so funny. So my buddy Sean, when I was living in Detroit, my buddy Sean and our buddy Jay, who's now a schizophrenic homeless man, but Sean, he had already been to prison once, and he was just like a stoner. He wasn't like a tough guy at all. Like he was like the absolute opposite of a tough guy. But he comes. He had a Volkswagen Scirocco or whatever. Anyways, they drive all the way to fucking Detroit to grab me to come back here for New Year's, right? So he was on parole. He wasn't supposed to leave the state, right? Yeah, it was worth it, But yeah, so he's not supposed to even leave the state of Illinois. So he comes to Detroit. They pick me up. We're coming back down, the 696 or whatever the fuck you're taking. And he's speeding. We've got a pipe, like it's just a little, shelf in the console it's not covered or nothing. There's a pipe. There's weed. And then there's shit in in the center console is like a bigger bag of weed, like where, like the actual bag of weed and stuff. Dude, he's speeding, first of all. You're not even supposed to be in the fucking out of the state. So we get pulled over, and we see the line, the Indiana-Michigan border. It's like fucking, I don't know, 100 yards up, and we get pulled over by a state trooper. Now he's got us all out, and we're watching him, and he's got the flashlight, and he moves the pipe to look behind it and puts it back. He opens the console. He's looking around. There's a fucking bag of weed sitting right there. Everything is, but he actually moved our bowl and look like was like ruffling around back there. It was just like they didn't find anything. I have no clue to this day how the
I
fuck.
love those ones. There's certain times
Because you're
where
just
you
nervous
think-
as shit, dude. Your heart's like, oh, and you're
Oh,
just like,
yeah,
they
yeah.
have it. We're fucked. We're going to jail right now. And
You want to know
yeah,
what my favorite one was of that, of just like where it's like, oh, dude, there's no way they're not going to. And so where was I didn't go to prom, but I just went to like the
sure.
hotel party after, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm there. I was in high school. I had a bag of cocaine. I didn't realize how fucked up this was. But
that's when
I had a bag
everyone
of
started
coke,
doing coke.
you know?
So
Yeah, I don't know. And so I had it on the table, and when the cops like burst into the room, right? And there's like fucking 25 kids in there all getting wasted, and there's all kinds of weed and stuff. And he starts like, all right, everybody sit down and fucking whatever. So we're sitting there just nervous. And dude, the bag of coke is just sitting in the open on the table, but the table is literally covered with beers, weed, pipes, blah, blah, blah. So he walks up to the table, and it was like this hilarious unfolding. Like it was like a fucking like a Ricky Gervais bit or something. It was just like he walks up and he's like, "Oh no, I should have known." And he picks up like a beer, and we're like, "Oh Jesus!" And then he goes,
oh, what the?
"Oh, and what is this?" And it's like a pipe, and he did it like another with a bag of weed. And then, dude, I swear to God, I don't know how the fuck this happened, but he left the fucking room at that point, and there was no cops in the room for like 10 seconds. And as soon as that door closed, I jumped up and grabbed it, handed it to my girlfriend. She like put it in her underwear. Boom, done. The rest is fine, whatever. And then he comes right back in. It was like a hilarious 1 or 2 second, and he comes back in. I'm like, what kind of cop leaves a whole room full of fucking kids alone for any amount of time after in this situation? You have to control that, dude. They're so stupid.
I got one.
So
yeah.
And luckily there was just enough ashes and bullshit everywhere that he just didn't spot this little,
He's probably just
I
so
don't know, I'm looking
square.
at
He doesn't
you
even know
in
what
my
it
phone
is.
down here. I'm so stupid. I'm like I can try to make eye contact with you. But no, I just love that when they're just that terrible. I told you that one time I got arrested.
Hold on. I got one. Hold on. So
This
we're
is
having a
just
fucking.
I just got arrested, booked, and processed with a whole bag of weed and
Oh
pipe
yeah,
in my pocket.
yeah.
And they
That's
just never
coke
searched me.
in our pocket. Yeah.
I just kept waiting for the hammer to drop, and
There was this one. We're at my buddy Sam's house. This is high school, and we're fucking having a party. This one girl goes outside because her and her boyfriend are fighting, and she's fucking drunk. So she goes outside. We're telling her, get back in here. It's an apartment complex. Somebody's gonna fucking call the cops on you. It's not late. You're 16 and you're drunk. You know what I mean? And you look distraught. So lo and behold, somebody calls the cops on her. And now the cops show up to the door. Now they're banging on the door. And we're like, oh, shit. And he had like this green Buddha bong, this like porcelain Buddha bong. So I go to hide that. Now the door opens up. Cops are coming in. I'm on the couch. People are in a bedroom. People are whatever. And I put the bong down behind, like between the couch and the like the end table. And I take the bag of weed and I take it up and I go and I slide it under the couch. But it slides all the way back out the couch and hits the dude in the boot. and somebody else like looks at it and he's like, "Dude, what the fuck?" And the dude was never seen. The bong was never seen. The fucking weed that was at his shoes was never seen. They just busted us for fucking booze. It was hilarious, man. They're so
dude,
incompetent. It's just so dumb.
They're so stupid. Yeah.
stupid.
Okay, so I'm thinking of like 10 more, like blah,
Yeah.
There was, I'm not even going to tell the whole story, but there was a time that a cop tried to make my friend Jimmy smash a bong in a dumpster, and Jimmy like somehow dropped it and grabbed a bottle and smashed it on the inside of the dumpster.
Nice.
And the guy just like heard it and went, "Okay, cool."
That's a magic
and then
trick.
we went,
Usually-
and then we went and got the bong.
Yeah, your boy should be a fucking magician.
Well, like, dude, there's a million of these. Anyways, whatever. We should probably do a real topic at some point.
Yeah. We'll get it. I mean, we
memories
looked. We looked at the fucking egg yolk protein, the whatever.
Yeah.
Y.
Let's
IGYs.
let's talk about
What?
Madonna when we get there. 'cause
Oh
we
yeah,
haven't done
Madonna.
that.
All right.
And we could do that.
Cool.
Yeah, we got a bunch of shit we can do.
We
We're gonna
definitely
run through
do.
some shit.
Yeah.
We'll do at least
definitely
one
do.
more 40-minute thing. I don't know if people.
Yeah,
show
I don't
back
know.
up,
I mean,
we'll-
we're just trying to fucking get this down.
Yeah, I know. No, that's fine. It's just a little weird to
It's
be,
yeah. It's
in different
it's,
locations and
And also,
as
it's
you can
tough.
tell by the brilliant timing.
I was gonna say, yeah, our timing is fucked up, and
Right.
more than that, it's like even now I have like more shit that I have to be doing on this end, and it's just like I'm
Yeah.
fucking really now like we need a
Yeah, well, when we get back, we'll just make fun of stuff. It'll be
that's
fun.
all we need to do ever.